Hi there, netizens.
Welcome to
Sway Me. In today's episode, we're going to be discussing how the socioeconomic background of families affects a student's learning ability. In other words, how does a family's standing, like middle class, lower class, etc., how does that affect that student's ability to be successful in school? What do you think about this, Amika?
I feel like that's a loaded topic.
It is.
I feel like there's a lot to discuss.
Yeah.
Socioeconomic background. That alone in and of itself is a lot.
Right.
Like socioeconomic background is like, whether they're rich, poor, middle class.
Right.
So I feel like there are some tendencies with certain classes of people that, regardless of the education system or the religious system that they're in, they're going to act accordingly. I don't know if that's making sense, but yeah, I feel like the socioeconomic background has a lot to do with how people perceive things, including education. So,
exactly, because how you were raised, what you were exposed to, what you could see, it depends on your level in the world. Because I'm from Jamaica, and I don't even know what class that, because we don't really use classes.
Of course,
I didn't.
classes.
I wasn't really aware of it.
Girl, you have uptown, you have downtown, you have underneath
country, different country, rural areas. Let me say.
Oh yeah, in Jamaica, for people who live in the country parts, we'll call them live in the rural parts, we'll call them country. Right.
Yeah, so I grew up in the country. I wasn't really focused on that sort of thing. It was when I went to high school in Spanish Town, that's when I learned that there are different classes. We're not all the same.
And I don't even know what you would call Spanish Town, if it would be like suburban.
Oh.
Because it kind of is inner city. For those of you who don't know, inner city in Jamaica we refer to as like the ghettos, the slums. But yeah, there are really nice areas in Spanish Town as well. So it just depends on the mentality of the people, because
exactly
with every rich community there's usually like a little poverty line, and then you have a bunch of people who are beneath that poverty.
Right.
So
yeah. But I think as a kid I never cared about that part. Like some kids are more aware of it, and I think the more wealthy students were more aware because they could see that there's a difference. Because let's say I went to school, I just think everybody's normal. I don't pay attention to brand names. I don't care what kind of shoes I wore or anything. But another student might be like, oh, why are you wearing this? The same thing you wore last week or whatever. So
I kind of differ with that, because I feel like the poorer citizens of Jamaica tend to be more cognizant of the brands. They tend to be more cognizant of like the class divide. I feel like when they're wealthier, and I may be wrong, but when they're wealthier, like they tend to be less aware of the fact that their family is a wealthy family.
That could be.
But I guess it could be
both ways. It depends on the person, maybe,
and depends on the parents and how they were raised. So there are a lot of factors.
So who do you think excels more? Do you think a person from a low-income family can excel as much as a person who was given more opportunity?
You want the truth, or you want me to be politically correct?
Let's do both. I want to hear both.
All right. So for those of you who know me, I went to Wolmer's High School for Girls. That's in Crossroads, Jamaica, and my school was filled with wealthy kids. Like I felt like I wasn't as wealthy as they were, but I wasn't from a poor family as well. So I guess the point I'm trying to make is that it depends a lot on the values that were taught to the kids.
Yeah.
All right. I could say that based on what I could see in my high school, a lot of the students who were lower in socioeconomic class tended to try to excel more
to get out of that
because they were aware that, you know, my mom struggled or my dad struggled and I want to help them to get out of this. And so it would be a little bit different for the lower class of kids.
Because a lot of parents make sacrifices to make sure their kid has the right textbooks and had food to eat so that they could study.
Right, uniform too.
Right.
Because we had to purchase our uniforms from the uniform factory and they were not cheap. Can I tell you, they were not cheap at all.
We made ours. We had to go to like a dressmaker
really?
to make those. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
I don't know if they sold them. Where I grew up, the common thing was to have someone make them.
Okay.
Maybe there was a place to go, but I just wasn't aware.
And I feel like, just adding to what I said earlier, I feel like the kids who, their parents were wealthier, they tended to have like a more lackadaisical attitude towards education. I don't know why. Maybe they felt comfortable. There was this girl who was related to Simon Crosskill. And she was in one of my classes. And, you know, everybody knows that Simon Crosskill is like a public figure in Jamaica. And, like, she was just definitely not interested in school. I mean, you could tell that she could care less. You know, you'd ask her about an assignment or something and she'd shrug it off like nothing. So that's why I got that impression. Because quite a few of them were like that. However, there's a reverse to every coin. So there were people who were from wealthy backgrounds as well who really wanted to stay up there because their parents have certain expectations
and values
of you and values, right? So I feel like socioeconomic background really does impact how well the education system works because of the values that the parents associate with their kids or to their kids. In the US now,
so you can say that it's not just about wealth, it's about the values instilled at home.
Absolutely.
So
and you have poor people who instill really good values,
right,
as well as wealthy people who instill really good values. So it just goes back to what values are associated with that family or that household where that kid's from.
Okay, that's a good point. So that's in Jamaica. Have you seen from your time traveling, have you seen a difference?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh, there are way more interested kids in Jamaica in education. In America today, I can say, based on what I have observed, there is like a big divide between education and wealth. So mostly everybody is like, oh, I dropped out of college and I dropped out of high school and you don't need to go to college, you don't need to go to high school. And I think it's like stepping on the toe of the education system. Because what value are we instilling in them that you don't have to work for what you really want to achieve? And I feel like here, I would say that the socioeconomic background really doesn't matter. Because there's so much liberty and there are so many ways to escape education that people don't value it as much. So socioeconomic background, I don't think influences the education system and how well it does here.
I think so, because a lot of people have boasted, oh, they didn't go to high school or whatever.
And it's a big
but they
thing.
have a business. They have like landscaping businesses, whatever, and they didn't need a college degree to get there. And they're making six figures.
Oh yeah, and more.
So I guess people have learned that education isn't as important if you put in the work in a skill and other areas.
But what they're trying to do now, I mean, since lately I've noticed that a lot of the trade schools they're kind of requiring the students to have some kind of GED
I wonder why.
or a high school diploma. Because, I mean, what are you going to fall back on? Like I was saying, what are we teaching these kids, you know, to value?
I think another way we could look at it, like earlier you said that in Jamaica, a kid who's grown up poor, they are hungry to leave that place. So they're not thinking, what am I going to fall back on if I fail? You're just going to go and get it and make sure that you're successful. So maybe it's similarly in this way. They're like, I don't see education working for me, I'm going to go and do this and I cannot fail, I will not fail. So they're doing everything in their power to make sure that this works out. So a plan B isn't even an option. It has to work.
But I mean, what happens when it doesn't work?
They're not, no, I don't think that people are really focused on that. Like if you set your mind to do this.
Like they're not to cut you, they're not focused on it. But when it doesn't work, what happens to those kids? So I drop out of high school, I go to school in the US, and I was going to be a social media influencer, right?
Yeah.
And I realized that, oh my gosh, I have to get up every day and make videos. I gotta post reels, make ads, all of these things. And I'm not up for that either, because remember, I have this lazy mentality from the beginning, right?
Right.
And so a lot of them, when they get into this, they realize that it's too much for them to dedicate themselves to. And then what happens to them next?
That's a good point. I guess Burger King and Wendy's hired, so that's an avenue. And then they could, I don't know, reboot, try something else. But there are a lot of systems in place for people like to go back to school, I hear.
Oh yeah. There are. But it's so sad that, you know, they don't have. I see like kids in elementary school over here talking about, I don't want to go to school. I'm like, what you know about that though? What you know about I don't want to go to school? You need to go to school because this is an expectation of you. And I feel like because this expectation is so low here in the States, they just feel like they can do whatever they want to do.
Okay, so what do you think that the school system could do to make people feel like there's a value in going to school to get an education?
I've been saying this for years and years and years, maybe over 7 years now. The education system is only designed for one type of learner. Because even though we're selling it that, you could go to a trade school after you finish high school.
Yeah.
You could go to performing arts school. You could go to art school.
Yeah.
They're still required to take an exit exam or an ACT test.
That's true.
That is paper and pen or computer and desk. You know what I mean? And what about those kids who like to draw? Why are we not, as a school system or as policymakers in the school system, not providing an avenue for these children when we recognize their skill level? Because I've known students who they're so low academically that they don't want to be at school because they know it's not their strong point.
Right.
So I feel like the education system could provide avenues for these kids. Like if I'm not good at reading and writing, but I know a company that's a welding company, and I'm interested in welding, and I like to weld, and I think it's so cool.
Yeah.
Allow me to go and do like an apprenticeship program, and as I learn these skills, test me on them physically. I mean, the test could be pre-written.
That's true.
With the basics of welding. And if I'm not verbal, if I'm not like a student who likes to write, administer the test to me verbally and let me do it physically. Let me tactically do it while I'm explaining it to you. And that could be my credit.
That's a really good point. And I heard about this private school, I forget the location, but they don't have a traditional classroom. So students will go in and they will choose what they want to learn that day. And what they found out is that students become like, they excel in the area that they choose because they have a practical option. They have compulsory like physical requirements, but it's not just like javelin, running, football. They can do snorkeling, they can do horseback. A plethora of options are there. And these kids, they have patents in their names. They're excelling in their various areas.
These kids?
I think it starts from like elementary level going up. But the thing again, it comes back to socioeconomic background. The tuition, guess how much it is?
It's expensive.
It's expensive.
So that's the thing.
And it's private, so it's not everybody that has access to this new method of learning.
I remember when I was going to Woolmer's, and this is just me going down memory lane. We used to have a program called PFL, which is Preparation for Life. And I tell all the educators over here that I know about this program because I'm like, we could use this to help our kids.
Yeah.
So when they get to grade 9, you know, you get to choose your classes at grade 9. Which subjects do I want to do? Which subjects am I interested in? Am I doing sciences? Am I doing reading subjects? Am I doing business subjects, etc.?
Yeah.
So what they do with the PFL program is the student gets to choose which field they feel most comfortable and most interested in, and then they could do it. So we had students who did cosmetology, for instance, and they would come to school. Everybody does math and English because you have to learn how to read and write. And you could take a friend or a family member and you could do their hair and their makeup, or you could sometimes practice with the students. So a student, let's say both of us are in PFL, I would be your mannequin and then you would be mine, and vice versa. And they got their practice, and at the end of the program, at grade 11, they got a certificate.
That's wonderful. So that's beautiful.
So you finish high school, that's 1. You got your certificate, that's 2. And you're doing something that you love that can make you money.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't see why it's so difficult that a first world country like the US cannot do something like that, but a third world country like Jamaica can.
I don't know if I went to St. Catherine High. I don't know if it was called PFL, but for grades 7 to 8, we had exposure to different subject areas. So science, business, music, art, skill sets like woodwork, sewing, etc.
Yeah.
And in grade 10, we got to choose what we're gonna do in CXC. So similarly to that, you got to choose the area that you're interested in. Yeah, and for those subjects, people normally excel more because they chose what they wanted to do,
and they want to do it.
They wanted to do it.
So they get up every morning excited to go to school because today I'm gonna learn how to braid, and tomorrow I'm gonna learn how to perm.
Yeah.
And then even for the ones who did TD, we had there was an incentive because if you did TD as a female student, you get to go over to the boys' school. So we have a one side for the boys, one side for the girls. And that was an incentive because a lot of the girls wanted to go hang out with the guys. And vice versa. We had the same program for home management.
Yeah.
And I remember home management was so practical for us.
That was
we had a little egg. And you made a little crib. I remember my Uncle Junior made a little crib, a wooden crib for me to put my egg in. And I had a little blanket, a piece of cloth. And I put my egg in the little blanket inside the crib. And you were excited about school because these things made it practical. But these are things that the US, we tell them about doing it, and I mean, there's not as much value placed on education for them to be interested in trying. And that, I think, is a big problem.
I think it would be beneficial. It could be beneficial to the school as well, because if the students learn how to do, say, landscaping or I don't know,
do it for the school.
They could do it for the school for grades, and the school would get free. Let's not call it free labor. It's free labor, and you get a grade, so everybody is happy at the end of the day.
Yeah, my high school also had that. We had an agricultural program.
We did too, yeah.
And so what happened is that they were raising their chickens, and they were farming callaloo. It's something like collard greens
Pak
for those of you who don't know. Pak choy. They have
some chickens. We had chickens.
Yeah. And so the chickens would lay eggs, and then they'd sell the eggs to the teacher, and that money that those students made were for them. So they got to keep whatever their chicken made. You know what I'm saying? And for them, that was practice, and it was practical, and they were interested in doing it.
And you're learning life skills.
Yep.
If you're not interested, you don't have to continue doing it. But I think it also gives students a sense of accomplishment. I can do something. Because for a lot of people, if you're not interested or you're not good at, say, the written tests, you kind of feel defeated.
Yeah.
And that happened. I saw that with a lot of kids in my grades coming up,
Mm-hmm.
because the problem children and whatnot, they are normally the ones that don't have such a high grade because that's not their area of excellence.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't believe that people are worth as like, oh, if you can't pass this test, then you're not. I don't believe that. I think everybody has their area of specialty, of expertise. Everybody has gifts. And I think that it's up to the schools to bring that out.
Mm-hmm. But that is not like a focal area. It's not like something that's super important in America, because Steve Jobs was able to escape the education system.
Didn't he go to college?
Who are the other ones? I think a lot of them dropped out of college.
Yeah.
Let me not call names because
I don't remember.
I didn't do much research on that.
Mm-hmm.
But I do know that a lot of these wealthy millionaires who are all over social media, who have these wonderful inventions, and inventions are great. But let us provide an opportunity. Can you imagine if one of those creators were able to start from high school? How much better or how much more money they would have now if they were able to start as a younger individual?
Exactly. Let's also look at the family again. For those who dropped out of college and stuff, I have a feeling they had a family backing, like maybe a loan was given from their family, so they were already in a certain economic class, and that also helped them to excel. Although yes, some
people, for the wealthier people,
right? And I understand. Yes, there's also people from a lower bracket. They also can excel, but I feel like there's like a little boost because of that. And there's nothing wrong with that. I believe that, like you said, if we started younger, then more people would become successful. So I think the family is also a very important part of how a person turns out.
Oh yeah, no, that's the main part. But I feel like the education system needs to support the family.
Definitely.
And it should be something that's hand in hand. I feel like we have these high expectations of our kids to do math and do chemistry and do English, and if you don't do this, then you're not worth anything. I know a little kid who he would doodle all the time in class, and while the teacher is talking, he would just be drawing, his head's down. He combs his hair in front of his face because he doesn't want to be around people, but he has to be in school because his parents force him to be here. And I'm like, one day I looked at his work, his drawing, and the guy can draw. I'm telling you, like spectacular, like perfect.
He could be an animator or artist.
He could be an animator, he could be an artist, he could be a painter. There are so many things that he could do, and he would love that. But his parents were adamant that he must be in school, and this school, to get a high school diploma. Yeah, you can get a high school diploma, but what if you don't have the mental capacity to do that? Is the education system supporting a child like that? To provide a program for him that he can do what he really loves to do?
Is it? Netizens, are you swayed? Do you think that our education system is supporting all types of learners? What do you think?
Yeah, let's know what you think, netizens.
Oh my. Okay. What do you wish you would have learned in school that could have helped you as an adult?
Oh my God, so many things. I wished that I had learned how to make money. Because I feel like now, I have all these certificates and degrees and education, and that doesn't help you to make money really in the real world. It really doesn't help us to make money. Somebody has to employ you and give you money. But if I were taught in the education system how to start a business, or
that would have been great.
How to create a niche, or how to promote a business, things like those, for me, maybe I made the wrong choice because I didn't choose the business subject, and maybe I would have learned it if I had picked the business subject.
But that's when you're specializing. I think in high school, it should start like from there, from you're younger, to have these innate skills.
I mean, well, if the skill's innate, it means you were born with it.
Oh, not innate then. Wrong word choice. Have these skills taught to you from a young age, is what I mean.
I feel like they do have, some of these kids really do, like you said, have innate skills, but it's for the school to provide an opportunity for them to showcase this. Because they have it. I can sing, but is there a subject that's going to allow me to showcase my vocal ability?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think these innate skills for them are what they really feel good doing.
Yeah.
You know? So did I answer that question?
Yeah, you wanted to learn how to make money.
Yeah, I wanted to learn how to make money. That's one thing. I wanted to learn how to choose my path in life. That's something that was never taught to me. I kind of feel like I was just thrown out there, because when I finished high school, I was like, maybe I should just go to media school or go to teachers college. I didn't know what I wanted to do.
I didn't know the options.
I didn't know.
I was told science, business, art.
And
I didn't want to do
it. What is that?
I thought those were all the options.
Yeah.
And I also feel like the education system should be evolving, because there's so much more out there that we could be doing. Look at AI. We could be teaching high schoolers how to profit from learning how to code for AI or teach or whatever. I don't know. I think we should be evolving, not just teaching
the same
thing
from 1960 something.
Because the world is such a different place since then.
Diverse.
We can't be learning the same thing, but I guess we can, because we are.
Yeah.
And
we shouldn't be.
We shouldn't be learning the same thing. Let's take a look at what some of the netizens wished that they could have learned in high school, in school. One person says they wish they learned money management. What? What did I just say?
Management. Money management. That was a tongue twister.
Money management. I also wish that, but I feel like the type of person I am, it kind of came through trial and error. Because I remember when I just started. Yeah. Some people take longer than others. Yes. I remember my first year of university, my mom gave me a set amount for the week. I was so happy. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go buy breakfast from Tasty every morning. By day 3, I ran through my budget. I bought food. I never cooked. And after that experience of running through my whole budget, there wasn't a new budget coming before the time period. So I had to learn from that experience and decided, all right, I'm gonna spend this much on food. Do I want to go out? Okay, I have to allocate this. So I had to learn that on the fly. It was tough because I was hungry after I ran through my budget, but that's not my mom's problem, because I am the one that had poor money management skills.
But were you taught that though? It was just trial and error. You weren't taught.
Yeah.
So had she said, maybe, see how the home and the school tie in? Because had she said, you're going to get this amount for the week, you have to make sure you only spend, she should sit you down. Can you do the math? $2,000 or $1,000 divided by 7 equals what? And then you would say, oh, that's this amount. So then she'd say, make sure that you don't spend more than that amount per day. So if one day you go over the amount, what does that mean? The next day, you're going to spend less.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's something that the family has to teach as well. For me, I've always been a hoarder of money, so I never had that problem.
It's weird.
When I got my money, I used to hide my money in my little piggy. Yeah. And then take it to the bank and put it in the savings. And I used to spend a lot on Christmas. That was my favorite holiday.
Oh, I never spent on Christmas. Still, I think I just started. Another netizen says they wish they'd learned healthy habits.
Healthy like hygiene or healthy like
It wasn't specified,
lifestyle?
but let's speculate.
Yeah, let's speculate.
Healthy habits. I'm thinking eating a good diet, like having a good diet, waking up a certain time, exercising.
Is that something that has to be taught though? Like, shouldn't that be just a given?
That could be said for everything. Like, what type of person do you want to be, and then work towards that. Nobody has to teach you who you are. We could look at it like that. But I guess this person, I'm guessing they're saying they wish they got like guidance to be healthier, not just left to blow in the wind. Like
And a lot of the, so one thing I really liked about my high school was that we had to have a balanced diet, and certain things were no-nos. Like, we couldn't have soda. That wasn't sold on our compound at all. We couldn't have bag juice, you know. Everybody know I love bag juice. But yeah, we couldn't drink bag juice on the school compound because it was nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
And then for the food, like the lunch, we would have like, you have to get your vegetables, you got your pasta salad, you got your meat, whether it be chicken or pork or whatever, and then you got your rice and peas or your plain rice, and it was properly proportioned. So every day, I used to take my lunch, but I still used to love that school lunch so much.
Those school lunch were the best.
And we had real chefs at our school, so
Uh-huh.
I look forward to that food every day.
We used to have different meat options.
And different days you have different things. Barbie fried chicken,
curry
chicken. I don't really
chicken.
like curry goat,
I like
but yeah,
curry
we
goat.
had that. We had that.
There was pasta or vegetables.
Yeah, no, we had both. You get the pasta and the vegetables.
Oh, we had to choose.
Why? You had vegetables in your pasta?
No, man, like there's the pasta and then there's the veggies. So after you get your food, you have to choose which one you want. I don't know why they did it like that.
Interesting.
Because I like both.
Yeah.
But I always went pasta because that just hit me the right way.
Yeah, man, I'm telling you, I really look forward. I think we're getting carried away, but
Yeah.
the lunch thing at my high school was a thing. It was a thing, I'm telling you.
Soup sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes they'd have soup. I remember,
Barbie fried chicken.
yeah, my favorite was the Barbie fried chicken and the white rice and the vegetable and the little pasta on the side.
Ooh.
Girl, I'm telling you.
We had this like secret thing, like we'd ask a because the teachers' lunches were different.
Oh, really?
So yeah, so they went to a different place, like right across from each other. So we'd like try and ask our favorite teacher, like, "Sir, can you buy the lunch first?" And then he'd go buy it and then bring it. We gave him the money,
and he would buy.
Yeah. Turns out the food is the same. I think it's the forbidden nature of it that made us feel like, "Oh, this food is better." It's from the same pot.
Was it more though? Like,
it was bigger.
Oh.
I think. Was it? Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Slightly bigger.
You, like, maybe this person is talking about also things like hygiene, because hygiene is not something that's taught in school.
I think you learn that though, because you can smell.
Some people don't know what to smell for.
The not good smell.
They don't know.
If it doesn't smell like air, if it's not fresh or sweet, then do something about it.
What if their background at home, their home space smells the same as they do?
For real.
And they won't be able to tell the difference.
I've heard people say that they didn't know something was abnormal till they left their home, and their friends be like, "Why you do it like that?" And they thought it was normal. For real.
Communication skills too, that's another thing.
Right. I know a lot of people that didn't know they had to floss or could floss.
Really?
Yeah. I've come across a bunch of people.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Well.
But yeah, I didn't have to really learn that in high school, but I could see where, you know, how people would really want to learn that. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. Let me find one more. Coping with failure.
Oh yeah, that's something I wish I learned too, because I don't fail very well. I'm not saying I don't fail often, but I don't fail well. I'm a sour loser. Like I'm such a sour loser. I feel so bad if I fail something. And I have such bad anxiety if I feel like I'm going to fail. So yeah, I wish I had some coping techniques for that.
I feel like I'm just learning how to fail now because I used to have some anxiety as well. Like before the event, like an exam or job or whatever, I'll prepare, and I'll feel like I'm ready. But sometimes things happen out of your control, and if that makes your experience less than you expected it to be, at the end of it, I would feel crushed. Like, oh no, I should have done this, and
you overanalyze.
Yes, and it would be on my mind for even years afterwards. I still think about an exam in high school that I should have gotten a better grade on. Yeah, because it's like, let me tell you, there was this question, you could choose one or the other. I knew this one, but I wanted to feel smart, so I chose the harder one. So I could have done better, but I wanted the challenge.
You wanted to show off.
Yes, I did. I was very foolish.
Jamaican say, show off, bring this grace.
I did get this grace. I was quickly humbled by that test.
When I see the test paper and I see that easy question, I'm like, yes, thank you, Jesus.
I thought I was like,
I bet you wish you could beat yourself.
It worked out. I'm alive. I didn't die, but I'm still learning. I'm better off now because I'm learning that, hey, it's not the end of the world.
It's okay to fail sometimes.
It's okay.
I mean, it sucks, but...
And that doesn't mean don't put out any effort because, oh, whatever, I'm going to fail anyways. Still try. But if it doesn't work out, just pick yourself up and plan what you're going to do next.
How do I overcome this?
Yeah. Life is very interesting in that way. So moving forward, how do you think the family or the school can help a person, a student, to become a better version of themselves or the best version of themselves?
So I feel like the school could provide more, I don't know what to call it. No, not with academics, but like with the way they see like personal development, the way we see ourselves. That's one. Like more sessions about stuff like that to make us see that, listen, this is what I want, this is who I am. Maybe more affirmation, stuff like that. And I also feel like the school could invite parents in because some of the parents need education as well.
That's true.
On how to parent. Maybe the schools could do like more parenting seminars that are mandatory at certain levels, you know, like maybe grade 7, grade 6. I also feel like, especially if the students are struggling, then the education system can provide opportunities for them to do what they excel in. So when you notice that the student is struggling with math and science, then maybe cosmetology is something that she'd want to do, or maybe, you know, art is something that he or she would want to do. Maybe the school could find some competitions, find some programs, find some artists who want to give back to the community to come in and teach lessons on those things, and allow the students to get their credits that way or get their grades that way, you know. So for me, those are things that the school can do. As it relates to parents, I feel like parents need to read more, educate themselves about what's happening in the world. And there are different types of learners. So if you're out there, netizens, and you're a parent, try to find out what learning style your child has.
And you have.
And you too, right? And then you'll be better able to help that child. Because if the child is a tactile learner, putting them inside of a classroom to read a book is not going to be beneficial to that child. So just educate yourself and try to use the education that you find to provide assistance for your child.
Right.
What about you?
I think that the school system needs more funding because not every school has the equipment that they need to help the students. I think we should have teachers who are specialized in an area, or at least go through training to teach the area, the subject area. I think parents need to be involved. Like, if a student goes home, not every parent will say, okay, make sure you do your homework.
Yeah.
What did you learn today? And then go it over, because you can't only depend on the teachers to help your child to grow. Parents need to be involved. I know we're all busy with work and maintaining a household, etc. But I think the choice to have kids and want successful children, that should also require you to put the time in to ensure that that's a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
So, were we swayed in any way, or were we just?
I feel like we've swayed the netizens. What do you think?
I think so.
Yeah.
Some good points were made.
Mm-hmm.
Leave in the comments below what you think can help our education system and our family units to be more positive, have a more positive impact on our learners, on our students, on our adults.
Mm-hmm. Well, thanks for tuning in. Remember to like, share, and subscribe.